Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a special episode of Know the Ledger 444. This is your host, Brother Red Pillar, in the building. And I'm soon to be joined by my esteemed guest, the good brother Ross Ben, along with his lovely wife. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ross Ben in the building. Peace. Peace.
Love, honor, respect. Love, honor, respect. Is my audio proper?
As proper can be.
All right.
Let me check with the people them. Let me check with the family them. How we
Uh,
sounding on the audio, y'all? How are we sounding on the audio? They say we sound crispy clean and whatnot.
Thank
Crispy
you.
cream. Before I do anything, I want to introduce you first and your lovely wife. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are?
Yeah, Ross Ben, 40-year student of history, mystery, and prophecy. And this is my
Author.
Yes. Yeah, author of
several
books. And that's been of several books. But
of several tomes, several books.
Yeah,
Time Traveler.
And that's
Mystic Hitchhiker.
kind of why we're coming together, because one of the first book, Rocks of Ages, has been out 25 years. And to be honest, I couldn't tell the Rocks of Ages story. I couldn't tell how it manifested without the Empress Mama Kim.
Right.
Mama Kim Israel Cook,
Yes, indeed.
It's really been our journey. It ain't been Ross Ben journey.
Exactly.
And
peace, Mama Kim. Greetings.
Greetings.
Yes. Welcome.
I've also and realizing that I couldn't give the story no real just telling without the mama. I also have been paying attention to how our family has been a
Mhm.
critical issue, and we've been seeing deterioration
Right.
of the family, you know?
Right.
And so I felt like, you know what? We have to stand firm as the example of a family growing through something,
That's right.
you know,
Right.
and stay together.
Holding it,
So
holding it down.
yeah. So
No,
it's an
that's
honor
beautiful.
to join the Know the Ledge community. We look
Well,
forward to being with y'all, and
I'm
you know,
sorry.
don't take it for granted. So honors, Red Pill.
I have to say thank you to Mama. I have to say thank you to Mama Kim because in order for you to be a part of the alumni, she had to, she gave you the blessings all the way back then to join us on the radio. You feel
That's
me? So
true.
she was lending you to us.
Uh, uh,
Because anytime you do anything, you got to get your working papers and your walking papers. If it's a
yeah.
lecture or a
Uh,
radio show or just a talk at the door. So
yeah.
thank you for, even incubating his genius.
Uh,
Ross Ben has been impactful to so many of us in our journeys and whatnot, the wisdom that he's bestowed upon us, the grace in which he has, given us his teachings and heavy lessons, right? Nonetheless, boulders, mountains of data and information and truth, but given to us in a way where it's palatable and applicable, actually doing the work. Like there's some teachers that don't leave the block or the basement.
uh,
You traveled that parallel that you spoke of. You are a wandering shaman. You know what I mean? Like you've been on many grids, and I've
well, that's
seen you
part
personally, huh?
that's like why we gotta tell the story,
That's
Yeah,
right. And then tonight will be
because
exactly
I will say when I go because I was just at an event. I was at a 20 event,
yes.
last week, right? Last strong.
That's strong. Yes, sir.
And the majority of the vendors were crystal vendors and crystal craftsmen.
Look
And
at
what I've
that.
and what I've noticed is that when there's like a festival or some event we at,
Right.
the crystals is in the house now.
And you can't have an event and the crystals ain't there.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And so,
And the
you
spores,
know,
though. Check that
in
out.
2025, in
Ross,
2025, yo,
the spores along with the crystals are
uh,
showing up at all events as well. The
uh,
spores, the
I know we
mineral
talking
kingdom, and in
uh,
that kingdom, the
plant
mycelium,
kingdom, fungi
they're
kingdom.
beginning to show up together everywhere, bro. But
It's
let's continue.
all right. And so just seeing where crystals are, the mineral nation, where
Yes,
to see our relationship to the mineral nation is growing and building. I
yes.
think, and knowing this is something that really our journey started with this thing in the 80s,
What said
1980s,
it? The 80s, right?
80s. It's
Yeah,
like
80s babies.
we gotta tell the story, you know.
Well, I am honored to be here for this classic, you know what I mean?
Mm,
This
mm,
quote unquote origin story of
uh,
a classic. Mind
uh,
you, ladies and gentlemen, this tome, this book changed my life when I read it. If y'all know anything about me and Blue Pills, our love for the crystals and our the way that we just adorn, you know, the crystals, the sacred stones and whatnot. You feel me? Like, you know, it's just these things just, you know what I mean? Like this, it started with this book though. This is when I internalized it. When I mean, I was already rocking the stones and the rocks and the gemstones and everything. I was adorning it, but I after I finished reading the book, I became the stone.
Give thanks.
I became the stone.
Give thanks.
So the impact of what this book has just on, remember, you influence the influential, and they influence millions and whatnot. So you'll really, you know what I mean? The touch is it extends far. But this movement right here, you pioneered this. You pioneered this, and there's a value principle that, or there's a value cost to that. You know what I'm saying? There should be a valuation to that contribution from a social credit point of view.
25-year anniversary is a time to account for the value. Yes.
What better place but to KTL? You're one of the KTL alumni, Blog Talk Radio General. You know what I'm talking about? When we took over the airwaves, and we here strong doing it, and we have some good news that we're gonna share with the family about some upcoming reasonings. But tonight we are here to celebrate the anniversary of Rocks of Ages.
Start reasoning, the honor to Ife and Nicholas Brooklyn.
Say that again, clear, please. I'm sorry.
To honor Sister Kofunya.
Yes.
And Sister
salute Sister Kofunya and salute Sister Monique. Legends.
Brooklyn. They're hosting me this Saturday, the 26th.
Okay.
Do
we have a flyer for that?
Yes. Give me a minute.
Okay.
I got to pull it up. Right.
Okay. Yes. And
they're hosting me to honor the 25 years. You know, this Saturday, 3:00.
It's only right. It's only right, brother.
It's going to be there.
Huh?
You know, me and the Empress are going to be there. You know?
As you should. They need to bring them 2 chairs out that they had at the Vibes Cartel concert. They had a red throne and a blue throne. I need them to bring that to Nicholas. You know what I mean? So we could do it the right way. You know, this is a ceremony. You feel me? So this is all platforms, in my humble opinion, should be telling this story, because remember, it's the story that matters the most.
It's the story that matters.
I just saw a movie that completely, there's a movie that's smashing records and waking people up, and it's the talk of the town. There's 100 thought pieces and 2,000 decoded comments on Sinners, right? The story. They were telling the story. There's stories to tell.
Yeah,
there's stories to tell. I tell people we won't run out of stories to tell. But we haven't ran out of greatness. You know what I mean? There's not a limit on greatness. The problem was there was a people in the way of us telling our stories. The middleman, the dam that stops the flow of water. The middleman is the dam. And they stop the flow. They stop the creativity. They stop the growth. They stop the energy. And they siphon it for themselves and steal it. You know, the dam, they'll take the water and use it for free cable, hydroelectricity and stuff. But when we break the dam and have breakthroughs, then there's that flow, there's that flood. So over the years, there was a dam, something that was holding back people from adorning their ancestral, adornments, right? I can't tell you how many people are stopping me now, like, yo, those pieces are so spiritual. They're speaking to me. I'm like,
Mm.
facts. I'm like, you know what I mean? Here, let me look, take this garlic. Let me chew some garlic. All right. We gotta make sure they're not vampires. Yeah, you're gonna when you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Before they start
You
turning
you got. I'm checking everybody at this point. Everybody got to pass it. You know what I mean? The garlic test.
the hard way.
You
All
feel
right.
me? But let us begin down memory lane, good brother.
Yeah.
When was the first time? Right. I'm not gonna start off. I want to know, when is the first time the idea for this title came to you?
Well, that's what it's. We even got to start before that. If you
All
don't,
right, let's start the story from where you are. I'm sitting in the audience. Let's go, my brother. The
so
floor is yours.
all right. We've just had our 36th anniversary, right? So this is when we were dating. This was in 1988, and we were working for a brethren, good brother, who's an ancestor now. Salute. His name is Kibwe Bay. This is in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And Kibwe Bay had a natural foods, health food deli. That's the best way to describe it. It's called Lifestream.
Yes.
Brown rice Lifestream. Yes.
Okay.
Right. And so we were working there, right? And he would cater. He did a lot of things. He had Lifestream, but this was around the time when Dick Gregory was doing a lot of works in DC. And so he was doing a lot of works with Dick Gregory. As a matter of fact, when Dick Gregory, who started, you know how there's a media trend,
Yeah.
like The Biggest Loser,
Yeah.
where they would find people with like 500-600 pounds and,
Yes. Yes.
and
I heard about that story.
document weight loss, right? So the first person to do that was Dick Gregory when he came out with the Bahamian diet. And this was
The
in the
Bahamian diet.
80s. In the 80s, right? And so he bought a resort in Florida, Fort Walton Beach, right? And was bringing obese people down there and doing The Biggest Loser with them, right? But he found a problem that, like, the vegan food ain't had no vibes for long and the short of it, right? The vegan food wasn't hitting them like some chicken or whatever, and they was sneaking out, eating whatever, right? And
Right.
his solution was to bring Kibwe Bay down to Fort Walton Beach and cook for these people, right? And so I'm trying to give you a description of how this man was in the kitchen, right? He was
Yeah.
also the cook for Earth, Wind, and Fire when they
Woo.
toured. So when Earth,
Right.
Wind, and
Right.
Fire would go on their tour dates, Bay
They
would
would bring
travel
him.
with them and cook, you know?
and cook. That's right. That's
And
important.
yeah. So even though, like, I know in 2025 we progressed to like thinking of live food as uncooked and not touched with fire, right?
Yes.
But he he was like kind of like, I guess, what we would call a vegetarian or vegan cook.
Okay.
He cooked dead ass. So he considered his food live. And he also had a science of, like, praying and having the proper frequency and vibration in his heart and on his hands when
Right.
he did the cooking. And, this really did set his food apart, right?
Right.
So we working up under him. And he had to cater an event in Maryland, this place called Moon Ridge, Maryland, at this he was a pastor in DC named Jertha Love. He's probably an ancestor now too. Salute, right? Because they was elders. These are elders in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Jertha Love was hosting a retreat out there where the people who were at the retreat were fasting for about 2 or 3 days, right? And to end the retreat, they were going to break fast. And Bey was doing the cooking, right? So us working with him, like we joke about it now, but we say we carried his bags because even though we worked for him and he paid us, it was really also just opportunity to like learn up under this man, as well as he would like expose us to events we'd otherwise have no exposure to. Like in a hotel room with Dick Gregory and a whole bunch of books, just able to listen, not like, we weren't necessarily in the conversation or nothing, but
I was
we're
just
able
tapped
to
in.
just was tapped in, right? So here was one of these type of events because Jertha Love was a highly respected man in the DC community. He had a big congregation, and even though he was Christian, he was like mystic. What you say?
Right.
Universal, his
He was
he
universal, right? He could kick it with everybody.
kick it with everybody.
Yeah.
And he kick it with everybody. It was like he was a different type of ministry. Like I said, he had this man Keyway Bey breaking the fast at his retreats,
At his retreats, right.
you know.
You know Pastor Willie, Unity, the Unity Church. He's linked with Farrakhan in DC. It's in B-More.
What's his last name? Is that what's the brother's name? Because the brother who took his inherited Jertha Love's congregation was Cochise. His brother
Cochise?
Willie Cochise?
Nah, that wasn't him.
All right, but yeah. Well, anyway, right? Moon Ridge was a beautiful place. It was like in the woods, and it was a beautiful day. It was like a spring day. The sun was out, wind was blowing, the trees was, busting out green. And I'm bringing that up to say, like, for me, I'm thinking this is an opportunity to get out of Washington, D.C., to get out of the shitty for a minute and get in the country, right?
In the country, right.
And so after we set up the food for the break fast, I'm out in the woods, I'm out sitting on a tree, tuning in, right? And they're like, yeah, Ross Bennett, come in and sit in on this last workshop before we break the fast. It's on crystals. And I was kind of resistant because I wanted to be outside because like I said, this was an opportunity to be out in some nature and not in the shitty, So I reluctantly went in, and I'm bringing that up to say because you know how like if you got a daydreaming spirit and you don't want to be indoors, whoever's talking, it's like, wah, 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 like
you tune them out. You're not even tapped in.
I was not tuned into the workshop, right? I got to be honest. It was ran by this brother. I think he's still alive, named Artis. Salute, brother Artis. He used to run the body ecology food truck at Howard University, on Howard University's campus back in the day, back in the 80s, right? And probably maybe even the 70s, body ecology truck was a like Howard institution jive, Uh
Yeah, like Steagles in Atlanta, where Bobby Hemmett used to work.
he he did the workshop, right?
Right,
But after the workshop, when the workshop was over, Jerka Love's wife circled everybody up, said a prayer, and she prayed that the mineral nation come in each of our lives and work with us, right?
Mm.
I didn't really think this was like a pivotal point in my life, right? And I would say I think the workshop wasn't really it. It was this woman's prayer, right?
Right,
Because so right at this point we're dating at this Moon Ridge event, right? In 88. 89 comes, we get married, she got a baby in the belly, like, we moving on with
right,
life,
right.
and you know how it is, young family balancing economics, never easy.
Hand to mouth liberty.
Hand to mouth liberty, as she say,
And
never
about liberty, right?
never easy, right?
Never easy. Not in this. Not in this walk.
Out of the blue, in our new relationship, baby on the way, baby's here by this time, right? Baby's here. I caught, well, in retrospect, all I can say is I caught crystal mania. I caught crystal mania. I was
Crystal mania.
like, if I had, $50 in my pocket to go to the health food store, don't let me see no rocks. Don't let me see
Right,
no crystals. Because
right.
it was like a couple of times I came back, I was supposed to get like rice milk and whatever, broccoli and whatever, right?
Well, the flesh was weak.
And I'm coming back with a flat of crystals and shit, So it was creating problems. It was creating problems, right? Between us and our early relationship. Because understandably, it was like it seemed irresponsible, And so we had come to like an agreement. No more, don't buy no more rocks, period. So I saw this crystal, right? And in my head, don't buy no more rocks. I ain't get it, right? This crystal started haunting my dreams. It was like haunting my mind, right? And so
That's crazy.
I had ran into some work that it was like a come up, like the amount of cash that I had, it was like, I'm doing good right here in the moment, right here, right now. So I just went and got the rock, right? Brought it home and it was like, what? We said no more rocks. And, so I had to make a decision right then, right there. Like, this ain't working. So I decided I'm going to start selling crystals, right? I'm going to start selling crystals so that the money I make selling crystals will pay for this like hobby / habit that, you know, it seemed to be taking me over and causing problems, right? So we say this is about 91 now, right?
Yeah.
So here we are, 1991. We in Washington, D.C. at an African Liberation Day, right? And we got a table full of crystals at ALD, at African Liberation Day. And this elder comes up to the table. And he studies us intensely. You know, he studies me, studies the table, studies us intensely, right? And he says, what does this have to do with African liberation? We had nothing to say.
You were stuck like
We ain't
Chuck.
had nothing to say because, like I said, this thing, I call myself just paying for my crystal mania habit.
Right,
You know?
right. Just a collector.
I ain't even know. Did I know? Like I ain't know nothing. I ain't had nothing to say. But the thing was like that wasn't gonna work. We couldn't have been we weren't gonna get caught flat footed like that again.
Right.
So we started making these lamps, right? Crystals in the Bible, crystals in melanin, crystals in Egypt, crystals, you know, like maybe one of the laminates was like just a breakdown of crystals in your chakras. And, you know, but we ended up with like a stack of these laminates, about 10 or 12 of them, right? And this is now we in 92 with these stack of laminates, right? How many youth? About two. We had 2 youth at this point, right? And a next elder comes up to our table. This is still in DC. Next elder comes to our table. And this elder was in one of those walkers that had a seat in it, right? Like a you know, it's a walker, but you can sit down, right? Elder rolls up to our table and sits down at our table and picks up the stack of laminates. And he just reads them. He reads them all, just one after the other, right? And pointed at me and said, "You need to write a book."
Right.
I was like, you know what? I will. And from that point, the 8-year journey from 92 to 2000.
Wow.
And how many we had like 2, 3, 4, 5 more youth by that time, right?
May 2000.
We had
pregnant.
5.
I was pregnant with our 5th.
With our 5th in 2000, right? And yeah, that's when the first Rocks of Ages. May 5th, 2000.
Wow.
Look
at that.
That was, you know, what came out of that, you know?
Right.
And Mama brought up, oh yeah, this was the crystal. This was the one that was
On the cover?
It's the cover, but this was the crystal that was haunting my dreams.
It was calling you. Ah, look at that. That looked like where Superman come from. That's like Superman's living room.
Yeah. This was the crystal that was like haunted. Like I saw it. I saw it in the store, this health food store. We Brunswick, New Jersey, because we was living in New Jersey at this time, right? And
it looked like a key, yo. It looks like a key.
I seen it, and it was just like, nah. I said no more crystals, right? And it started haunting my dreams and just like messing with my brain Like I said, I came up on some money and I was like, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it. I didn't think it would,
Right.
create no drama, right? But it actually set in motion
The chain of events.
and that's why I end up on the cover.
That's right. As it should. Consecrated.
Yeah. So
It's a legend.
yeah. But Mama, and getting ready for today, Mama brought up a lot of other angles from the story that I just thought would be timely to hear.
Of course. Of course. We honored.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, I'd like to give thanks for the Red Pill for opening up your platform.
You might want to speak up to project your voice.
Opening up the platform to Rospin, not only tonight, but from the earlies, and giving thanks for all the support, the encouragement, and Ashe. Truly appreciate love. And yes, it's an honor to share the space with Baba tonight per his invitation. So it just had a few words to share in terms of the significance of celebration, that as African Americans, we need to celebrate everything, every
That's
achievement,
right.
every
That's right.
milestone. Everything deserves to be celebrated. And
We can't take our lives for granted.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We come
We
together
definitely can.
every day. You wake up is a reason to celebrate, how we celebrate birthdays and come together with uh, upful vibes, with music and food and dance. And in that celebration, that's, as our ancestors have showed us, a way of expressing our gratitude, giving thanks uh, in every way, not just through our mouth, but through that
Sure.
act of celebration. And
Fact. Hey.
yes, when you have any kind of work, be it artistic or intellectual or otherwise, that's able to withstand the test of time in terms of its relevance and influence and impact, that's definitely worthy of celebration. And so,
Definitely.
yes,
Definitely.
I
I feel
want to,
that's how you lock it in with
yeah,
with the celebration. Like that's the way to just lock it.
and acknowledge it and honor it as, excuse me, as we mark May 5th, 2000, will officially mark the um, first book signing that was hosted here in Philadelphia at
Merchants Al Cabelon, Bobby
Oh
Watt.
man. AA always talks about that. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
man. He said that was the spot.
Yes,
Yes.
right, Germantown Avenue. And here we are 25 years later, and we're able to see how the Rocks of Ages has been a catalyst for humanity's reconnection with the mineral nation.
You
We've
see it?
always, yes, I mean, we've always had it. And one of the chapters in the Rocks of Ages, speaks to the ancestral and uh, ancient connection that humanity has had
Going back to the Nile Valley.
with the
Right.
mineral
Going black.
nation. Not just for ornamentation purposes. Obviously, everyone's familiar with that and the
Right.
value of rare,
Looking
precious,
good and bling bling. And
right?
Yeah.
With faceted and tumbled stones, but Rocks of Ages and the science contained in it around the mineral nation allows us to really appreciate love and connect with the vastness and variety in its raw form, giving appreciation before it's been tumbled and polished and cut and
Right.
faceted and all of that, but just out of Mother Earth, cleaned and full of that energy that's for us to connect with and work with, as
Right.
Rossman said. So just giving thanks for this opportunity and wanting to highlight some of the ways, as I was sharing with Baba's, that influence, as we said, everywhere we vend, from
Everywhere.
to anywhere, you just see crystals are ubiquitous in the vending space now. People wearing raw crystals, copper wire wrap jewelry throughout media,
Mm-hmm.
well as um, there's a whole section on how to create your own copper pyramid in that book. And it's probably been about 3 or 4 years now since our oldest daughter showed us Kim Kardashian. And I guess
Yeah.
it was some type of YouTube posting in a copper pyramid. And, I don't know if it was her home or a studio, wherever. But the point being that this science has um, been the foundational, or as you might say, a seminal work for humanity's reconnection with the mineral nation, which is significant. And we're
Very
so
significant.
thankful to have been a part of it and continuing to be a part of it and celebrating it now, April
Mhm.
26th, at Brooklyn's Nicklin.
Nicholas Brooklyn.
Excuse me, Nicholas Brooklyn. I'm sorry.
And
I'm a little nervous. Nicholas Brooklyn. Um, this Saturday afternoon, and looking forward to being with all the family community who wants to go out and come out and sharing that celebration. And as Baba said, looking forward to hopefully crystallizing the plans for an additional celebration here locally in Philadelphia at
definitely.
a future date. So just giving thanks and praise for the time.
Yeah, because I
that you
will
shared.
say this year I had other experiences that allowed me to do a lot of reflection on this.
Yes.
And even though the early seeds were planted in DC, right?
Yes.
It was the Philadelphia community that really grew, like the support from the Philadelphia community, and
Right.
beyond support, it was like they was like, Ross Ben, where's the latest crystals? Ross Ben, what,
Right.
like that, there
They're
was
pulling you to task.
they put me to task. The Philadelphia community put me to task. And
That's
so
right. They saw it in you.
I want to salute, you know, the ones from Philly, just like, y'all were part of this thing for real. Even though, like I said, the early experiences with Bay were in DC, and them elders that, you know, put us on this trajectory of like, hey, you know what, we will write a book. But it was up here in Philly, serving the community up here, where their support and demand for crystals, our connection to the mineral kingdom. They wanted to know what's our connection to the mineral kingdom.
That's
And,
right.
actively supported us. That was a big part of it.
That's right. Philadelphia is known for their art. Philadelphia is known for their artistic flair,
And
through
it's science.
and then right that exactly.
Philadelphia's
Philadelphia, heavy science.
yeah. There we go. All right.
Yeah. Philly
Yeah,
is known for that heavy science.
yeah. And
So
this this was a big part of the Rocks of Ages story, because them 8 years from 92, we was back in Philly in what, 95? So 95 to 98,
96.
mhm.
96 to 98, we was doing the last 2 years of the works
Right.
here
Mount Airy,
in Philly.
Right.
And yeah, they just gave us a lot of my ancestors now.
Mhm.
Mama was Sabri, salute. Yeah. She, like, also Mama Fatima, right? Sister Fatima.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mama Fatima.
Salute.
Salute,
Yeah,
Mama Fatima.
like,
Ashe.
these was elders who,
Yes.
like, If they heard Ross Ben was somewhere, they was there.
I
With
love
2 or
it.
3 people,
That's
know,
right. I love it.
2 or 3 people, supporting.
Mm-hmm. Like, I love those 2 or 3 people that support like 200 people.
Yes.
You know, the way they support, it feels like you getting 200 people coming to see you.
And I also got to mention Ras Naeem of Infinite Treasure.
Salute to Ras Naeem, the
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I mean,
Because, all right, so when the book came out, first
right,
Rocks, so this had to be about 2001, 2002, right?
mm-hmm.
I was hustling it, and I
Right,
would have a copy or 2 in my bag wherever I went. And so I was at an educational conference in downtown Philly,
right,
right? And I saw a brother. I saw oh, there's a brother at this conference, right? And he was a younger brethren too. He was closer to my age, right? So I
mm-hmm.
said to him, was like, yo, this is my book, blah, 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 right? And
Right,
he said, I know someone who he was like, I'm gonna get it, but I'm not
right,
getting it for myself. I'm getting it for this next brethren.
right,
I know really appreciative of this. And who he got it for was Ras Naeem of Infinite Treasures, right?
dope.
So, a couple of weeks after that, couple of strongs after that interaction with the brethren, Ras Naeem contacted me, right?
Right,
So the first out of town, like traveling, book signing, crystal event was in Pittsburgh, hosted by Ras Naeem, Infinite Treasure, right? And
hold up.
that event, Ras Naeem was like, yo, Ras Ben, we got to hit Tucson. And I was like, all right,
Right,
and that began the 20-something year,
right. The rest is history.
20 years something journey with interacting with the largest gym show in the world, the biggest crystal event in the world,
The biggest.
And so,
Thank you for bringing me out there. You opened my eyes up to abundance. For real, for real. You opened my eyes up to abundance, to limitlessness. Because that's what that trade show represented. And everybody who's into rocks need to be at that trade show one time in their life. That's our pilgrimage.
Yes.
Be honest, until it all looks like us.
But now,
you know what I mean?
Say one other thing on that note, right? 25 years in, 20 years in, right? Tucson is the largest gem and mineral event in the United States. Okay. Second largest is in Denver, Colorado. Okay. The third largest is in North Carolina, Franklin, North Carolina, a couple of hours from y'all ATLians.
Right. What about the one in Asheville?
Well, that's the one. The one in Asheville, you probably were talking about the same one.
Because it's not in Franklin. Franklin is next to Asheville.
Franklin's not far from Asheville.
Okay.
Up in the mountains and up in that region, right? So I have yet to been to the Franklin show, but how ATL is becoming a hub, a cultural hub, right? It only makes sense that we hit we make it a point to hit the Franklin show and hit it, because Ras Naeem and Infinite Treasures, they're not in Pittsburgh anymore. They're in Columbia, South Carolina. You're not in New York.
Right there.
You're in Atlanta, Georgia.
What month is that again? July?
It's in July.
All right, so we in April. We can make it.
Man, I said it only makes sense. It's the
It
third,
is. It only makes sense. It's right in our backyard, and it's the third biggest. We start
yeah,
there
and we could go out there as a collective.
as a collective, and that's something that we are definitely gonna do. Family, KTLians, if you are willing to be a part of this expedition that we're gonna be going on, we're going as explorers. We're also going as merchants, and we're also going as quote unquote creators.
Hey, and
Respond,
I do
huh?
mention that Franklin, North Carolina, the city that the show is on,
Yes.
it's a historic mound.
I already knew it. I already knew it.
Yeah, it's a historic mound.
It's a historic mound, y'all.
And why I say that, right? Because they say an important battle occurred there. And the dwarves, the Immortier, came out the earth in this from this mound to help the indigenous out. And
To help the indigenous, right?
yeah. So the indigenous
Oh man,
preserved this mound, you know, and all that history is preserved. So not only are we going to hit the show, we're going to be hitting the mound. It's only because one thing about going to the Tucson show over decades,
mm-hmm.
right? Let's say we go out there with some paper, right?
Right.
We out there. All right, paper beats rocks, and we gonna get a lot of rocks, right?
Paper, rock, scissors, right?
Paper beats rocks. We got a lot of rocks. We gotta get the rocks out of the desert, across 2 mountain ranges, and get them home.
Right.
I'm here to tell you that thing ain't easy. It ain't easy.
It ain't.
If you got one,
easy.
you got 1 or 2, you got a pallet full of crystals to get home, 1 or 2 tons or whatever, right? Yeah, man. Yeah. So it would only make sense if the third largest show is right here on our side in our neighborhood. We go check it, you know? Collectively. Yeah. So
nice, dope.
I just had to throw the Infinite Treasures part of the story in, you know?
Of course, you gotta, we gotta make sure we put the right people in the story to get it right. You know what I mean? Somebody is gonna come along and take this information and create a documentary on you. You know what I mean? There needs to be a full production of the documentary of Rocks of Ages. This is just a preliminary show, y'all. We think very big. We are not only what's considered big thinkers, but we're big doers. Look,
Mama did bring up another interesting, like how
yes.
we've seen the times change, right?
Yes.
So not only were we used to be like the only vendors at the events with crystals, right? Where now it is 4, 5, 6, whatever, right?
Right.
But people would come to the table and be like, "What's that? The natural rock deodorant?" And pick up the crystal. Think it's bath salt, or think it's like
right
deodorant to rub under your arms. Yeah, like
Yeah, all that changed.
Yeah, that's changed. All they know what it
all
is
that's
now.
changed. Yeah, it's a whole new ball game we in right now, my brother. So thank you for your contributions. Thank you for being the caretakers of the mineral kingdom. Thank you for unearthing the quote unquote hidden treasures. Thank you for your demonstration, because I promise y'all, unless y'all read the book, y'all might not understand why I'm saying these things the way that I'm saying it, because the book brings the science. This is the fact. This is, seeing it is one thing, but the science of it is when I walked away and I was like, oh, nah, I'm activated. You feel me? as I'm reading the book, I'm getting activated and whatnot.
Yes.
We have some passages from the book. We have some sigils and some artwork from the book. Do you mind? Are you ready to share that with the family?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's just dive in. Let's go.
Let's do it, y'all. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's
And
go
I will,
ahead.
yes,
Huh?
I will say yes that I did take a deep dive. The what you say, physics, metaphysics, and science of our relationship to the mineral nation, because the reality is that uh, we are human crystals,
Yes, we are.
and the same elements. There's a principle called consubstantiation, which
Consubstantiation.
which is a long, big word that basically means we're all made of the same substance,
I like that.
all made of the same thing. So the same
Con.
consubstantiation,
Okay.
right? So the same hydrogen that's burning in the sun is the same hydrogen in us. The same carbon that, you know,
Right.
foundation of organic chemistry, same carbon in us, right? Same silica that most of the Earth's crust,
Right.
Earth's computer, and man-made computers that store information. Same silica in the Earth is the same silica in our brains, consubstantiated,
Not
right?
right. Same melanin.
Same melanin, right? Carbon, copper, sulfur, key ingredients of melanin, right? So us, the whole lot, even though I wrote Rocks of Ages as a book, right? The idea was to show us that to really have the proper relationship with the mineral nation, your body is the book.
Mm.
Learn what the elements do in your body, learn what organs they're stored in, what functions they're a part of, their psycho-spiritual properties, right?
Yes.
uh, or what we might call their metaphysical properties, right? And then find the crystals that those same elements are forming, right?
Right.
And that should be the foundation of your relationship to the mineral nation. Overstanding consubstantiation, all of the same substance, them same elements, right? That you find it in these crystals, these same elements are in your body.
Right.
And on another level, you know how when you pick up some crystals and like they speak to you, you really resonate with them. Well, what's happening? They're not speaking to your conscious mind like another human would using words,
Right.
but the iron in that crystal speaking to the iron in your body, the silica in that crystal speaking to the silica in your
In your
body,
body.
the calcium in that crystal speaking to the calcium in your body, right? So you have certain crystals that you really resonate with, like you're really attracted to, right? Or synchronicity, these crystals keep becoming a part of a part of your life, or part of your experience, right? You should find out what elements make up that crystal, and then know what those elements do in your body, because it's a message, you know? And that was really the approach we attempt to cultivate in Rocks of Ages. Attempt to show our elemental relationship to crystals, And I guess you could say that is the scientific relationship to crystals.
Mm.
And it is the key to having a conscious overstanding with the mineral kingdom, you know?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So now,
But the way you put it, now it makes more sense. I'm sure a lot of people never heard it put like that, so they could understand the immediate benefits of coming into contact with these crystals
yes,
and why they speak to them, and why they feel certain ways after even holding them in their hands.
yes.
Connection. Yeah.
So now, I had sent you some graphics from the Rocks of Ages, right? And
That
all of them, all these pics are pics from the book Rocks of Ages.
I need to
And
talk to you after this show, brother, about the merch line.
now, some of these crystals, I want to tell another part of the story
Yes.
uh, that's related to his name. I knew him as Brother Nasi. His name, he goes by Baba G now,
Baba G, the legend.
the legend. He's most well known for crafting the jewelry adorned in the Black Panther film. Right?
Yes, yes.
But
Hmm.
I don't want to give the impression like no one was dealing with crystals before Ross Ben. You know, there was some elders back there in the 80s working with the crystals. Dr. Foots out of New Orleans, right? I know
Hmm.
I see then, but Baba G and Baba Osafa J, you
Oh,
know?
Osava J. Yep.
Yeah. These brothers was holding it down. But anyway, I got to have the opportunity to be able to study up under Baba G for a little bit. And both of these photos, Baba G inspired. Baba G actually drew the empowered, chakra aligned, melanated man that's on the right.
Yes.
Baba G drew that isn't the one he drew, but he
He inspired
explained,
it.
explaining the chakras and explaining the energy systems of the body. He drew the archetype of that image, you know. And go black one slide.
Who drew this artwork to the left?
It's a brother. His name, he's from DC. His name is Carlos. And he was like, you know how, I'm sure you could relate to this. A lot of our younger brethren are into comic books
Yes.
and
Very
into,
much so.
you
I
know,
was.
artistry of
Hmm.
drawing comics.
Yep.
And so he would create comic books. He had like a closet full of his own comic books, that he
Right.
used to bring to press. But
I'm
when
looking
we
for people
were
like that
making,
these days.
yeah. I'm not in touch with him now. This is like I say, this is in the 90s.
Right.
You know, this is a whole feel like a lifetime ago almost.
It was.
Uh he drew this one for me too.
Okay.
I kind of like, hey, brother, let me contract you to create some graphics I got in visual for this book.
Right. That's
So
legend. Look, this is artwork right here. This is classic. This is legendary. Like I
yeah.
said, I already got visions about what I want to do with this.
Uh, And there's the crystal that, like I said, inspired, that put us on like, yeah, we want to have to start selling crystals. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's the one that is, that's actually the picture that ended up being on the cover. Me holding
Wow.
that, yeah, holding that there. But you had another one with a cross with an ankh on it. Yeah, the brother Carlos did that for picture too. Yeah, so brother
Mm-hmm.
Carlos did that one.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see, there's
He hooked you up.
I wanted to show you Baba G. So one thing that set Baba G, Baba O, and Dr. Foots apart from even and the skilled work Ras Naim does is these brothers were metalsmiths.
Right.
They melted and, created jewelry out of smelted metals, right?
Right.
So I did have the opportunity to be in the lab with Baba G in the 90s, get up in his lab where he got his tools and smelting and, I'm up in there with a bag of crystals and we could just be as spirited and creative as we want, right?
Right.
So I went up in there with a brass Ethiopian ankh one day and a bag of crystals. And this is what we crafted, Baba G and myself.
Wow.
And
Ethiopian cross with the crystal on it.
Yeah.
That's
This crystal too.
huh?
A Christos consciousness crystal.
Hold on.
One whose face, if you like zoomed in, if you had the ability to zoom in on the facets, right? One face has 7 side facets. The one face has 3 facets. It's 737373.
Okay.
The way the facets on the crystals are. And they call that a Christos crystal, or one that helps us bring out our Christos self,
Right.
our what you say, imitation of Christ,
Right. The
not
crystals.
just worship Christ, but live that liberty of
Right.
service, Yeah. So that's one of them crystals on an Ethiopian cross, out the
That's
lab.
cold. That's cold. Y'all got more of those? You got that in the archive somewhere, my brother?
Well, that's a one of a kind, and it's on my wall. Yeah, I still have it. But
Right.
yeah. I mean, you'd have to talk to Baba G and get you,
I'm gonna bring Baba G on the show.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce him to the world, to my platform. I'm gonna bring Baba G through, Baba O. I'm gonna bring you on. We're gonna have a talk about I have a series. I'm doing a documentary called We Are the Luxury.
Mm.
And it's gonna focus on, just the things that we do and how we are as we're learning daily. You know what I mean? As we're learning daily, it's we the ones. We them. We the creator, the destroyer, cream of the crop, and all of that. We everything that Clarence 13X said that we are. Along with Elijah, along with Marcus, and the good brother Noble Drew Ali.
Now, I'll mention this other diagram since you have it up.
Right? Yes. Please do.
Talking about, and because this is a relevant issue, we're seeing it in the YouTube sphere today, where this fear of self-development, right? We should always start with ourselves. And before we go out serving the community, before we go out serving the nation, the first circle before that is family.
Right.
Then community, then nation, and it goes out from there. right?
Right.
So we have in Rocks of Ages a section where, and because this is something else I've experienced over time, right? Wherever
Mm-hmm.
I'm vending at one of our events,
Mm-hmm.
I do my best to try to have a basket of crystals that I could just give away. Not
Important.
not be buying them, not worrying about buying or
Right.
selling,
Right.
but
Right.
just bless someone with a piece of nature that they could keep in their pocket to keep their frequency proper.
Might
And
save their whole frequency. Yeah, might save their whole auric field.
yeah. So what I've observed is one of the easiest ways to touch someone deeply and change their life is give them a crystal.
That's,
you know, like
yeah, that is
it's
absolutely correct.
it's something that I don't know. It seems like such a simple thing. Like Rossman, you can't be serious, but I've observed it over time, you know. And
Right.
one of the situations where that is really relevant is give a crystal to a child, give it
Mm,
to a growing, developing mind, you know, because
that's a flex.
yeah. Because when we're at our events, one other thing you'll see is someone who doesn't have the adult filter on, they in their child state, when they see a table of crystals, oh man, they
Hmm.
can't control themselves. It's like, ah. And so when you see a young person moving like that, and then you give them a crystal, that's,
Mm-hmm.
man, what an opportunity, you know? And so we have a chapter in Rocks of Ages where we talk about that. And we talk about the different relationships we might have and what might be the best types of crystals. Like, let's say you have someone in a certain relationship with them, you the elder, or they're your child, or they're just someone in the community, or whatever, right?
Right.
And they're going through something. There's certain stones you might just blessing that person with it. You'd be surprised.
How it
So
might help them, right?
yeah, so that's what that uh image, that little chart, that circular chart is a part of it was one of the graphics, building around knowing what crystals to give to who and how it might help.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So we have a whole section on that in Rocks of Ages. Because one of the things we also attempt to do is, and this is also like Mama talked about the relevancy, right? One of the things we talked about in Rocks of Ages 25 years ago
Mm-hmm.
was the upcoming mental health crisis.
Mm. He
That
was
there weren't
forecasting it.
that there weren't going to be enough, we say, licensed therapists,
Right. Deal
licensed
with that.
to deal with what's going to, what our community is going to need, right?
Right.
And so what might be a good thing to do is build your relationship with the mineral kingdom and then share the mineral kingdom with those you see in need in mental health crisis, you know? And
Right. Which I'm sorry. Where can they find the book on the website? Is there a website or a way to get this book from you directly?
my website might currently be down, but I'm in the process of getting it back up.
Okay. So what's the best way to get the book? Through your IG?
Through coming to Nicholas, Brooklyn on Saturn's Day.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. And being in the building and making sure you sell out.
Sign it, right?
Yes.
We are going to create the online. We're going to open my online portal back up, but
Okay.
you know, another
I could, if you want me to, I'll facilitate. If you have physical copies, I'll facilitate the sales through through the store that I have.
there you go.
And I'll
Go.
just send you everything. I'll send you the information.
I'll send you the case and we'll work it out afterwards.
All right. So
ATL can get a copy,
right. So for my Patreons, I'm gonna have the link inside of the Patreon store. I will have it on KTL University, but I also have the book inside of the store. Buy Me a Coffee. A lot of people go to Buy Me a Coffee to shop, and it'll be on the Mark 125. You're gonna see this book. Huh?
I said, what an honor to be able to help you buy a coffee.
That's right. That's right. We gotta get a coffee, read the book. They got mushroom coffees out there. Don't go all decaf on me. They got mushroom coffees. They got healthy coffees, zootropic coffees for your brain and whatnot. Buy me a coffee, buy me a book. Go to Buy Me a Coffee to get Rocks of Ages. All right. That will be on the store. Rocks of Ages. That will be in the store. Buy it as a gift. This is a must read for anybody in the building. You could be wearing only gold and silver, and you could be a person that wears no jewelry. It has nothing to do with vanity. This has to do with the science. All right. This has to do with the science, the hidden science behind the mineral kingdom that's older than us. But it contains and it holds that data inside of it. These are semiconductors. These are conduits. These are what are powering devices that you're wearing, that people are having vices to and addicted to, right? These devices.
Right. I remember there was a window of time. I don't hear it that much anymore. But ones used to hit me with, you believe in crystals. They'd be like, you believe in crystals? And I got to a point where I had to hit them with, do you have a cell phone?
You feel me?
And they pull up and I say, well, that's a crystal. It's
right.
just official. You believe in that?
You believe in that, right? That works, right?
You believe in that power. Why can't it have power in its natural state?
Right.
Yeah. I just wanted to add on to what you were saying, because
right.
This is where we're at in 2025. We want to talk about our relationship with the mineral king, because that is, see, what they say, necessity,
right?
Invention, right? Or innovation, right?
Innovation.
So the reality is, why have we seen this explosion in people wanting to reconnect with the mineral nation? Because we're living in the 5G reality.
Is that why? Does that have something? Okay. Can you break that down?
Because the silica in your body, the iron in your body,
right,
that make up your cells,
right,
they like to operate on a certain hertz of frequency. Okay? And that frequency of hertz is also known as the Schumann resonance, 7.8 hertz. Okay? And this is kind of tricky, because if I say, hey, Red Pill, I want to send you some low vibes.
Right.
You're like, nah, I'm cool. You pass. You'd be like, nah, I want some high vibes. I want some high frequency. Right?
Rightfully so.
But when you study the electromagnetic spectrum, and when you study the spectrum, the band of frequency that our cells like to tune into and communicate, and when you study the band that cell phones and computers operate on, right? The Schumann resonance will be a low frequency, 7, 8 hertz, almost 8 hertz. 8 hertz per second. Okay.
Right.
Phones operate on the megahertz and the gigahertz spectrum. 5G's in the gigahertz, right?
Right.
So that's like thousands of hertz per second. Not 8, but thousands. So what's the higher vibration? And then what do we really want? Do we want the low vibration, the Schumann resonance, or do we want the gigahertz frequency? It's tricky.
You're right. It's super tricky if you don't know what you're looking for.
It's tricky. So what we attempt to do,
being that you put it like that,
yeah, we attempt to like articulate what is the frequency our cells like to resonate at, and what is the frequency that natural quartz crystals tend to resonate at, and that why natural quartz and our cells are in resonant affinity, like vibration, right? And that things that, you know, things in like vibration, they can influence one another. When a radio tunes into a radio station, right? You're tuning in you're making the radio right there in front of you in resonant affinity with the antenna. So your cells have the same relationship with many of the minerals, right? And when we're in an environment where that's like in our atmosphere is full of megahertz and gigahertz frequencies, our cells need help communicating in the Schumann resonance and almost 8 hertz. That low frequency gets drowned out by the megahertz and the gigahertz, right?
Yes.
So when we wear crystals, it helps us keep the 7-point hertz Schumann resonant frequency around our cells so our cells can communicate and not be disrupted in the 5G reality. So that's why so many people are calling for crystals now, you know, because they already had a phone, right? They already got the Wi-Fi in their house.
They got that.
You know, they got a computer. They in front of it X number of hours a day, right?
Right.
So the cells like, yo, we need some help.
We need some help. They need to get charged. They getting zapped.
We getting zapped. We need some help.
Zapped. Yeah, we under attack.
And so then when they at BAM or wherever and they walk by a table of crystals, something inside of them says, yo, that's what we want. And that's what's happening in 2025, you know?
That's crazy. Look, I'm going to take some questions from the audience because I don't want them to miss out on being able to prompt. Some, I'm not going to hold you for super long.
Yes.
But we do have a lot of family in the building, about 250 in the building right now. Shout out to all of the KTLians in the building.
Aliens, yes.
Feel me? Shout out to all my KTLians and whatnot. You know what I mean? Real quick, while we wait for the questions to come in, I went ahead and went over to Amazon and check you out. Feel me? See what they was talking about. And they got your book over there for $73. That's what it's starting out as. So I just want y'all to see this, ladies and gentlemen. The going price is $73 on Amazon for Rocks of All Ages. For Rocks of Ages, the 20th year anniversary. We will be carrying it on our site and we'll be offering it to you at a better price. You feel me? We don't want to give.
Now, I left out a chapter. The new edition.
That's a new edition?
The first edition came out in 2000, right?
Yes.
but the learning never stopped. I
That's
kept
right.
information, more information. So come 2008, I was inspired to come with a new edition.
Beautiful. That's what that is. Okay.
This is. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll have both copies in Brooklyn. And yes, at a much more reasonable rate than what they have it on Amazon. Because those are people buying it and reselling. Because I haven't been active online. I do have to thank you, KT Aliens, for your patience. But I do know I haven't been really active the last couple of years. And
Oh, you already.
yeah, I just, hey, I've been doing my best to keep my family and
Right.
myself well. How can I be
Right.
out serving the community, serving the nation, and my own household or myself? We in shambles. That don't work.
Yeah, it
You know?
don't. It don't.
You know,
You know.
as y'all know, we lost a member of our household coming up on 2 years in July, I think.
Yes, rising power to your son.
Yeah, my son, Messiah, salute. And
Yes.
so, you know, shit, we I ain't been active online. I ain't been paying attention to my website, and I ain't been doing nothing on YouTube, or I've fallen back and trying to keep my thing together.
Right. That's why I was on it when we were able to do work together, you know what I'm saying? And I had to give thanks to the Empress.
I want to say
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
the only works I did the last 2 years was with KTL, to be honest. You know,
Right.
my 40th parallel series, I cut that back. And yeah, it was I had plans to set up a Patreon.
Yes, sir.
And I had plans, I had vision, and life
Yes, indeed.
life had other plans,
Life
I
be lifing.
you had to roll with it. So
So good, man. We here for you. We are here for you. That's why they call us a community.
I do feel like I am in getting in the position to be more active and more present in the community and in the nation. I do feel that way. And
Right.
I thank you and Sister Kofunya. Sister Kofunya.
Shout out to Sister Kofunya holding it down
Yeah,
with that Sister Kofunya energy.
Steady on your good works, Rasta.
Yeah, steady on your good works, Rasta.
Yeah, she ain't letting me like wallow and be all stuck in grief, and
She charges, she's there for the charge. Sister Kofunya will charge up your engine and breathe and get you realigned and whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rocks of All Ages, the book is on Buy Me a Coffee. I baked in the shipping and handling along with the price. As you can see, we are we're being reasonable. So reach out to us. We'll get it directly to you. Jeff Bezos don't need no more of our hard-earned resources and funds. Jeff Bezos is good. We need to get it directly to the creator. So that's how you do it, direct to consumer. Come through KTL. We're going to have it on the Mart. We're also going to have it on KTL University so you don't miss the book and whatnot. And then we'll also bring the rest of his library to the shop after we sell out of these books right here. Sell out of Rocks of Ages, and then we'll re-up.
I'm going to have my online scene proper.
No doubt. I'm gonna help you too.
Yeah, I dropped the ball, but I'm gonna pick it. Ain't nothing to do but pick it up and keep running.
That's right. Let me tell you something. There's no look. you are where you are when you are who you was before you got here. It ain't where you from, it's where you at. You feel me? It ain't no time, ain't no more, ain't no time like the present. And you know, the universe is conspiring for your success.
I feel
right?
that.
And we are all going through dark nights of the soul. We have been tested, tested, because at the end of the test, you're going to get that grade. You know what I mean? That high grade. You know, the universe puts us through a lot of tests, but steady on the work. Your work has liberated, free your mind, and your mind will follow. Free, you know what I mean? All of these things. And as we were speaking earlier, many different cities are calling for you. We've traveled and they've been asking for Ras Ben. So as soon as you're ready to get back on the road, we already got a few spots that we're gonna open it up for you.
And to be honest, to get on the road with the KTL family, I'm excited about the opportunity. And so thank you. I'm ready. I'm coming. I'm ready. We're gonna free the pounds.
I want to show you this real quick, my brother, then give you some good news. All right.
Yes.
So this right here is a series that we started. Right? We started a series called The Master Teachers, right? And we're paying homage to the master teachers, and we're making Mount Rushmores out of them. Because that's the true Mount Rushmore. I don't know about any other Mount Rushmore, but our Mount Rushmore are the master teachers. So these are, we have so many master teachers. This is one of 7, my brother. And I might have to extend it to 10, right? So one of 10, more than likely, of the master teachers. It's not just 4 of them. We're not playing that separation game. It's a whole lot of master teachers. Promise you. It's a whole lot of master teachers. I could go on and show you a whole lot of them. The good news that I have for you, Mr. Ras Ben, you know what I'm saying, is that you are on the teacher. I mean, you are on the Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia teachers.
What
Okay?
an honor. What an honor.
You are on the Mount Rushmore of the Philadelphia teachers. You may, I mean, there's other Mount Rushmores that you'll show up on as well, but we definitely have you on the Mount Rushmore of the Philadelphians, okay? The ones who came out of Philadelphia and conquered this thing, you know, took this thing to another level, unplugged millions. We have Sabir Bey, we have Ras Ben, we have Dr. Umar Johnson, we have Ali Muhammad. So that is our Mount Rushmore of the Philadelphians.
What an honor.
And you know, no slight to anybody from Philadelphia doing the work, who put in the work and whatnot. I'm not, they're all honorable mentions. Like I said, there's a Moorish Mount Rushmore, spelled with more at the end. You know, we got the occult Mount Rushmore with Panic, with Azazel, with Bobby. You feel me? With Daoud. You know what I mean? We got the Academia Mount Rushmore with Cheikh Anta Diop, with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, with Dr. Clark, like Dr. Ben, of course, Ajra Kwesi. We got the comedic one. We got Ajra Kwesi. We have Baba Heru Samaj. We have Dr. Ben. We also have Anthony Browder. And we have Infudishi on that one.
Wow.
Right? There's a one right here that I want to show you that's very special, because this is dealing with the sacred gemstones. Right? So even with the knowledge that you have about certain stones, right? I want to put a bag in your, I want to give you honorarium, right? Not just use you for without any type of compensation, right? I will pay you by the hour, and what we'll do is sit in front of, we'll get in front of some AI, and we'll begin to create
With some AI.
these.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Well,
We'll because you know the names of the stones.
it is what I
You
was saying.
remember, is he who has the knowledge of the lexicon. That's going to be the ones who will be able to really prosper with what they have to offer and what they're calling AI. People don't understand exactly how to bend the spoon when it comes to it.
Well,
But
they say, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, feed him for life, right?
life, facts.
So when we playing with AI, if you make it a opportunity for me to learn AI, that'll be the compensation.
That's exactly what you'll be doing. You feel me? I'm gonna give you a lesson, a one-on-one, by just showing you how your knowledge base of what it is that you know could be created into actual assets, like digital assets. Like, when we say assets, we mean something that you can monetize.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with it. I'm doing. I will say,
So I'm gonna leave you with this.
algorithm is tricky.
Huh?
The algorithm is tricky.
Ain't it?
And I am an analog man. I just got to be honest. I'm not a digital man.
Oh, good.
I'm not of this digital generation.
I'm the Red Pill brother. I'm here to bring you into the digital.
That's what I'm saying. I thank you
realm.
for that. But I'm just saying that to say, keeping up with the technology has been tricky.
Oh, for sure. I already know.
If I could have a KT alien help me in that process, I'm excited.
You say the word enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic, yes. Yeah.
You feel, but yeah, heck yeah, let's go. Like,
right.
We'd be honored. You know what I'm saying? That's the least we could give back to opening up our minds and taking us on these journeys and activating these grids and freeing our minds. So remember, it's each one teach one. It's supposed to be a perpetual cycle, like a wash, like a complete zero and whatnot. Each one teach one. I owe you a lot. So my payback is in my demonstration. I ain't gonna just talk about it. Cause boy, if my thing was built off of what people told me, man, if it was only predicated off what they was promising me, I wouldn't be here. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we have to I gotta go to Black Magic 363. I want y'all all to come over to Black Magic 363. We're doing Sinners Decoded. And then we might have a Third Eye Thursdays after that, you know what I mean? Because we cooking. So with that being said, let them know where they could send you any type of love, any type of monetary love.
Rossbin 188 is my cash app. Ross
188.
188. Yeah.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is not soliciting. This is Third Eye Thursdays. It's Thursdays for a purpose, right? This brother and his queen and his empress put in work decades ago. The best way to show love in the world that they come from, the best nation is a donation, right? That's where they come from. Best nation is a donation. Claps and everything is seen as a form of flattery, right? And we take hardcore cash. All right. And we take the best nation is a donation there. You vote with your dollar. Show the love by voting. Hit up the buy the coffee, buy me some coffees as well. Show the love. It's a beautiful day. And we winning, right? We winning. So with that being said, peace, love, and light to the family.
Thank you for the opportunity. So let me
Indeed. See you soon, King. We got more announcements coming with you. So this is just the beginning. We're gonna see you soon. Happy New Year's, happy Easter.
say, you know, one thing we got to do.
Brooklyn. Oh, the flyer for Brooklyn.
We got to get down. We got to break down. We got to revisit the 2025. I don't like that word forecast. 44 cast.
44 cast. We got to revisit the 44 cast for this is season 2, second quarter. We definitely gonna return to revisit that. Here go the flyer, y'all. Brooklyn, 4/26/2025, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Rosben returns to Nicholas. You know where it is in Brooklyn, Flatbush. Love and light, y'all. Y'all show up, man. New York, pull up for the guard. All right, legend.
Yes, sir. New York, show up.
Show up. Bria.
Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.